Hello, Mr. Leo, and we will draw a crow. We're at Hickman. See those crows? Over there. Alright. Alright guys, we just need a pencil and our marker, or ink pen. So I'm going to make a diagonal line. This represents the direction of my subject's body. And then we'll break things down using simple shapes. That circle is going to represent the head. Notice how I'm keeping everything light when we're sketching. We're just trying to find the best possible lines and best possible shapes. So this is going to be an oval for the body. And then I need kind of like a long rectangle for the tail feather. And then we can do another shape in front. This will be the wings itself. So I'm going to make it a little darker just so you guys can see what part's the wing. And then, so we go from general. So I'm going for like general shapes. And then later I can focus on refining the contour and working on the shape a little better. See, here's the head, and then triangle below. And its back. And it has a cute big eye. So the beak shape is so important. Beak shape kind of lets us know what kind of bird it is. So I think crows have really pointy, well, somewhat pointy beaks. Not as pointy as a woodpecker, and somewhat round, but not as round as like a parrot, right? So many variations in nature. So this is how we make our crow beak. Somewhat long, but still kind of rounded. And make sure we get a bit of a neck. My eye is still pretty general, but I'm starting to like the shape, so I start pressing a little bit harder. Everything is still a sketch though. Even though I press slightly harder, that's like a medium line. I'm not going super hard. And the back of the head, as I get more of a correct line, then I do press harder. So I know that line is superior and I can ignore the other lines around it. This is a little bit of the leg starting, and I'm going to make lines first. These lines are just going to tell us where the legs are going to go. Then we can straight away build the leg on top of the line. I always like to start with lines first, especially for long things like legs, so then they don't get wonky and I don't get lost. That means I could just build around that first line. And it's always a weird, hard habit if you're not already used to that. But you've got to just keep practicing and see which techniques work for you best. Alright, I think this looks pretty good already as far as how crows should look. And then I'm just kind of working on the textures, kind of breaking out each feather. I'm not drawing every individual feather, I'm just kind of working on like the edges to make it look a little somewhat fluffier, I guess. Like this point, it's too pointy, it starts looking like a red robin. But some tufts of smaller feathers do come up. See how that small change does a lot? Like earlier I was here, it kind of looked like a robin or whatever, but then as I curved it down a little, then it becomes more sleek like a crow. So small things really matter in art. Then I'm going to sketch a circle in the middle, and then everything else will be colored in, so that circle would be the highlight. It's not quite in the middle, it's like on the top left. Alright, I'm going to make an oval, so then my crow is on a surface of something and 2 vertical lines on either side. So it's like a post, and we can put texture there too. So just like a little wood texture. Conveys a lot. Tells you that this is probably made out of wood, this post. Texture is how a surface looks and feels, and that's one of the nice things that artists can do. The principle of art. So this bird leg, it's too straight, but if I make these curved lines, these textures that are actually on the bird, that also helps convey how round it is and makes it look less flat. So textures are important. Alright, and then I took my time with the sketching. I'm pretty happy with it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and get my ink pen or permanent marker or marker, whatever you guys are using at home, and then I'll have at it. I'm just going to go and do the beak first, and because we did all that sketching, we should be pretty warmed up, so this drawing will make short work of it. So here I'm just kind of following the lines that I want to keep, and I already mapped everything out. So I am tracing some lines for sure, but I'm not tracing all the lines. I'm just going through and picking the lines that I pressed darker. Uh-oh, my ink pen's kind of bleeding a bit, so I have to unload some of the ink. So these texture marks I like. And I'm going to continue on the back. Then I'm going to start the wing here on this side. There's lots of little textures on the wing too. And we don't have to draw it through the whole thing, just in little areas. Okay, and then it goes down here on the chest. Uh-oh. I like my ink pen because it's like a round tip brush, and I love painting, so this is a good way for me to practice drawing and where it's still relevant to my painting. So there's lots of tools out there that an artist should be very mindful of that helps enhance their practice. And if you're a young artist, you should just try everything, I guess, and then figure out what feels good to you. Okay. Tail feathers. And the eye, now that I'm looking closer, the eye should be a wee bit smaller and a little more to the left. So see, I ignored that right area. I'll just color that in. And I want more textures, more texture. The texture is always following the surface of whatever we're drawing. See the curved lines on the chest? If I curved it the other way, it'd look weird. Or if I straightened it, it'll look flat. So the texture should help, not just with detail, but also to kind of convey form. Making it kind of fuzzy down below. And the little feetsies. Yeah, little claws or talons. Just using the tip of my marker so my lines are not too thick, because if I press really hard, it'll be all blobby like that. I'm going to go ahead, moving the camera. I'm going to go ahead and get my post down. You can do all the little textures on the posts. Okay, this is pretty fun. Yeah, one of my students wanted this done in Halloween. I know it's already November, so I'm super late. Just wanted to get it out there because it was stuck in my head. And now, since I got to practice this, it's not. Haha. Alright, and I think this looks good already. But it can always be better. If you guys want to see some shading real quick, you can continue. Or if you just want it as line work, this is where you want to end it. But for the shading, I'm just going to go ahead and darken some areas. This is even much more appropriate with a subject like a crow, because the crow is very dark. Okay, just kind of darkening some areas and just kind of brushing it in. So, brushing in my ink pen so it looks, so the brush strokes look pretty nice, like a painting. The shading, the simple dark shading, also help kind of convey form. Just a little bit though, because I'm not putting any other shades, because my ink pen's being unruly and blobby. Okay, so space kind of continues that way. Make it a little darker below the claws, little talons. And then as you put in the textures, if you bring the lines closer, that already also does this like cross hatching type thing where it plays like shade, so it's not just super dark. You can put like a transition, so it gets, so it's not just black then totally white. You have this area where the textures play as like mid-tone or something. Okay. And I think this feels pretty good to me. I don't want to do too much more to it. And that is our little crow. Caw. Alright, please like and subscribe, and if you guys have any cool recommendations for me to draw, just toss it out on the comments, and if I have time or if I see it, I will draw it with you guys here. Alright, thanks for practicing with me, and please keep practicing. And that's a crow. Alright, have a good day.